Thanks, Peter. My first involvement in the gay rights struggle was with the Greg Weir campaign, who was a teacher from Queensland, and the Queensland government had refused to provide him a job. So that was my first involvement, and from that I got involved with a few other organisations like the Socialist Lesbians and Male Homosexuals. I got involved with the Gay Solidarity campaign in 1977, and I got to meet Lance Gowland, and we started to work on the Mardi Gras. So Lance was pretty well, one of the main people sort of pushing that. Lance gave me the responsibility of looking after the sound system. So I was on the back of the truck, and I was just told, whatever happens, just keep the music going, don't let anyone else get the sound system, and just keep on going. So that's, anyway, that's what I did. That was my part of it. Lance actually drove the truck, and the atmosphere was pretty sort of electric, it was really happy sort of atmosphere until the police sort of stepped in. Sort of Lance was going as slow as possible and dragging his feet, and the police were all the time trying to get him to hurry up, His response was, look, it's very dangerous, there's all these people on the road in front of me, I just can't go any faster. So that was his response to the police. So anyway, we got to the end of Oxford Street and sort of went into College Street, and Lance was going to give a speech there, and that was the plan. And what would have happened is that the people would have listened to the speech, they would have clapped, and they would have went home. But the police weren't very happy on that idea, and they attempted to arrest Lance. So they did try, they grabbed him. A lot of the people in the crowd attacked the police. Brian McGahan bit one of the police officers on the wrist, and he let go of Lance, and Lance was sort of headed back into the middle of the crowd. In the meantime, the police come and grabbed the truck, and they turned around into a little side street off College Street. I was hanging on for dear life because I didn't exactly know what was going on, because I was just told to keep the music going. So that's what I was doing. So after that, sort of myself and Lance and a few other people had a little get together to try and work out what had happened, and we locked up the truck, and we'd heard that the people had gone up to King's Cross. So we thought once everything was locked up in the truck, we'd sort of follow them up to King's Cross. We went up to we went up William Street, and we were just wondering, where are the people? We couldn't see anybody, and we thought this was a load of baloney. That's what we thought, and we'd been given some sort of bum steer. But the next thing, once we got to Darlinghurst Road, we could see it was all happening. It was a full-scale riot. People from the bars and the clubs had come out, and they were throwing stuff at the police. The police were bashing people, and next thing I know, I was grabbed from behind, a police officer here, and I was just thrown into the back of the paddy wagon. And the next thing I sort of met Peter Murphy in the back of the paddy wagon.
How romantic.
Not exactly. And other people were sort of thrown in, and one person sort of attempted to escape, and we thought we might try and join them, and every time we sort of tried to escape, we didn't get very far. Anyway, once there was a few of us in there, we just sat there, and we were wondering what was going on. And we find out later that basically the crowds had surrounded the paddy wagons. People were attempting to let the tyres down, and basically we weren't going anywhere. So that's what we found. Eventually we ended up at Darlinghurst Police Station. We were told to get out. Peter was told to stay, and so that raised suspicions anyway, that they had something planned. We got put into a big cell, all the males, and we were there for hours and hours and hours, until they started doing the fingerprint, doing the charging and all the rest of it. when it was my turn to get charged and fingerprinted and everything, I saw Peter there, and my heart just sank because his face was quite swollen. He was in a pretty bad way, and you know, it didn't look that promising. Lance Gowland's partner at the time, Jim Walker, was a doctor, and he was sort of demanding, when they'd heard that Peter had been assaulted by the police, he was demanding access to the police station to carry out a medical sort of treatment and investigation, and the police said no. So anyway, eventually I was bailed and let out in the early hours of the morning, and Jim and Lance took me back to their place. The next day we were at camp 33A, sort of Glebe Point Road, and had a big meeting, and many thanks to the people from camp for helping to organise that, and we had a big discussion about what we were going to do, and we decided we weren't backing down, we were going to continue fighting, and we were going to demand that the charges were going to be dropped. So that was, in a sense, sort of the beginning of the Mardi Gras in Sydney. So let's see. So sort of after that, although we were really frightened after the first Mardi Gras, we were determined that we were not going to be, frightened away. We would continue. Sort of the next year, 1979, we had sort of people from the Council for Civil Liberties. We had all these lawyers. We had all this money, bail money, and we had this control centre meeting at Garibaldi's in Palmer Street in East Sydney. And if anything, happened to us, we had all the lawyers and the Council for Civil Liberties, and they were going to be wheeled out. But fortunately, in 1979, nothing did happen, and so that's, in a sense, the history of the Mardi Gras and how we started. So it would have been easy to give up, but we were determined that we were going to continue fighting, and the police weren't going to have frightened us. So.